Welcome back to the Want To Project. On Wednesday, we got our reps in. We practiced, we drilled, we rehearsed. Then we followed it up with journaling to catch our own emotional lens in the act. Today we are taking all of that hard work and putting it into the arena where it gets tested the fastest: customer service. And I don't just mean the job title. I mean customer service is a fundamental life skill. Let's be clear about why we practiced on Wednesday. It wasn't about role-playing for fun. It was about building muscle memory. Because when you are in a real customer service moment, whether you are a doctor talking to a scared patient, or a teacher with a frustrated student, a police officer on a tense call, a store clerk with an angry customer, or the rep on the other end of a phone line, you don't rise to the level of your intentions. You fall to the level of your training. And that's exactly why we practiced. That's why we put in the work. Now, let's talk about the part nobody really says out loud. Customer service is incredibly hard. Why? Because it requires you to manage yourself while someone else is not managing themselves. Think about it. It's hard because you're dealing with people who are in distress, confusion, frustration, or fear. You are expected to stay regulated and calm while they are completely dysregulated. You are asked to solve problems you didn't create, often with limited resources, and you're doing all of that while your own life, your own stress, and your own emotions are still happening in the background. Customer service is basically emotional weightlifting, except the weights yell at you. It's a high-stakes, high-pressure environment that tests every bit of your emotional resilience. So where do we even begin? Here's the twist, the big secret. Excellent customer service doesn't start with the customer. It starts with you. If you don't know what emotional lens you're wearing when you walk into an interaction, if you don't know what feelings you brought with you from home or from your last meeting, if you haven't practiced your responses to common frustrations, then you're not actually serving anyone. You're just reacting. You're a pinball getting bounced around by someone else's emotional state. Self-service is the foundational work you do before the moment even happens. It's about checking your lens. It's about taking a second to name your own emotion. Am I tired? Am I stressed? Am I excited? It's about practicing your tone of voice, rehearsing key phrases that de-escalate, and journaling to understand your personal triggers. That is the real prep work. That is the real training. It's the unseen effort that makes all the difference when the pressure is on. This connects directly back to what we did on Wednesday. We drilled 3 specific things. First, slowing down your initial gut reaction. Second, choosing your tone of voice on purpose, not by accident. And third, responding thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. Those weren't just abstract empathy exercises. Those were customer service exercises. They are the core building blocks for handling difficult human interactions with grace and effectiveness. Why? Because customer service is empathy under pressure. It's empathy with a stopwatch ticking loudly in your ear. It's showing empathy when someone is upset, confused, or scared. And you are the one who has to remain the steady, calming force in the room. It's easy to be empathetic when things are calm, but the real test is maintaining that connection when chaos erupts. And that's precisely why we journaled. It wasn't to be poetic or deep for the sake of it. It was to be prepared. Your journal is your personal intelligence report. It tells you what sets you off, shows you what situations drain your energy. It reveals what tone you default to when you're stressed. It helps you identify what situations make you defensive or what moments cause you to shut down completely. If you don't know these things about yourself, you can't effectively serve anyone else because you can't even serve yourself. You're flying blind in an emotional storm. When you do this work, something incredible happens. There's a big shift from have-to energy to want-to energy. Customer service isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about showing up with the right energy. Have-to energy is heavy. It says, let's just get this over with. You can feel it from a mile away. It's the energy of obligation, but want-to energy is different. It's light, it's open, it's engaged. Want-to energy says, I'm here and I'm ready to help figure this out with you. People feel that difference instantly. It changes the entire dynamic before a single solution is even proposed. Think about this in the real world, across any profession. A doctor who walks in with want-to energy changes the entire feeling in an examination room, turning fear into trust. A teacher with want-to energy can change a child's entire day, maybe even their perspective on learning. A police officer with want-to energy can de-escalate a tense situation and change the tone of an entire interaction. A store clerk with want to energy can turn a frustrating errand into a pleasant experience. Phone rep with want to energy can change the outcome of the call before the problem is even solved, just by making the other person feel heard and valued. Customer service is not a job title, it's a human skill. So here's the truth we need to land on. Customer service is hard because it demands emotional discipline. It demands self-awareness. It demands consistent practice. Most importantly, it demands that you practice self-service first. But when you build those muscles, when you train your responses, when you journal to know yourself, when you rehearse your approach, stop just surviving those difficult customer service moments. You start leading them. You become the anchor, the guide, the person who brings order to the chaos. Thanks for being here for another round of the Want To Project. Keep practicing, keep journaling, keep choosing your want to energy. Always remember, the best customer service you will ever provide starts with the service you give yourself. I am Jim Rutherford. This is the Want to Project. See you next time.